Welcome to our channel. Here we explore fascinating stories, from the everyday to the extraordinary. Subscribe, share, and join us on every discovery. Vampires, as we know them in literature and cinema, reality or myth. The figure of the vampire has been popularized by literary works such as Bram Stoker's Dracula, as well as countless films and television series. These stories often portray vampires as immortal beings who feed on the blood of the living. Vampire tales have fascinated humanity for centuries, all framed by themes of violence and darkness. Are you ready to uncover this sinister character? I suggest you find some company before watching this video. Here are some of the most famous and iconic true stories. Jure Grando was a villager from the Istria region, in what is now Croatia, who lived in the 17th century. He is considered one of the earliest documented cases of vampirism in Europe. He died in 1656, but it was said that he returned from the grave at night as a vampire and terrorized his village, a reign that lasted 16 years. He would rise from his tomb and wander through the village, knocking on doors, and those he visited often died shortly afterward. The village priest and a group of villagers tried several times to put an end to the vampire. Finally, in the year 1672, they managed to exhume his body and decapitate him, which, according to legend, brought his reign of terror to an end. His story was documented by the scientist Johann Weichard von Valvassor in his work The Glory of the Duchy of Carniola, becoming one of the earliest written records about vampires. The Dog Priest. In the year 1138, at Melrose Abbey in Scotland, there lived a priest named Hunterprest. He was a man of excess and little virtue, who enjoyed hunting with his pack of dogs. Because of his behavior, he was nicknamed the Dog Priest. It is said that when he died, he had nothing better to do than return as a vampire to torment the citizens of Melrose. They say the abbots hunted him down and banished him from this world with an axe blow to the head and a funeral pyre. The case of Petar Blagojevich is one of the best documented examples of vampire hysteria from the 18th century. He lived near Kisilova in Serbia during a time of war and conflict. According to reports, he murdered 9 people in the week following his death. All the victims were found in their beds, with traces of blood and their throats either torn open or crushed. Hysteria gripped the village. His body was exhumed, against the law, and was found incorrupt and showing signs of vampirism, according to historical documents. The body was staked and burned. Arnold Pale, known as the partisan of Medveja, was a soldier during turbulent times. One night, according to reports, he was attacked by a vampire, but he saved himself from becoming one by eating soil from the monster's grave. However, when he died sometime later, he returned to life as a vampire, according to local accounts. Pale's case is unique because it was the catalyst that triggered the 18th century vampire epidemic in Eastern Europe. According to sources, Pale's attacks on several animals and people may have caused the spread of this affliction, which affected at least 16 more individuals. In 1582, Johannes Cuntius, a respected merchant, suffered a fall from his horse and, despite medical efforts, passed away. At the moment of his death, a black cat appeared and perched on his bed. 2 days later, his specter began to manifest in the village of Silesia, accompanied by a foul stench, earning him the nickname the Stinking Vampire of Pench. Unlike other vampires, Cuntius did not drink blood or kill, he simply harassed people. Eventually, the villagers exhumed his corpse and burned it, putting an end to his appearances. Here is some evidence of possible vampire corpses discovered by archaeologists. The remains of around 450 individuals were uncovered in a peculiar and sinister burial site located in the rural municipality of Luzino, in the Polish region. The discovery occurred during roadwork in the area. Archaeologists from the Institute of Archaeology at Nicholas Copernicus University conducted the excavations and confirmed that the burials date back to the 17th century. Some of the remains had been decapitated, and the severed heads were deliberately placed between the legs of the deceased. This was an ancient Slavic funerary practice believed to eliminate vampires, based on the idea that decapitation would prevent the dead from rising from their graves. Among the burials, the remains of a child were found with the skull placed between the legs and an anti-vampire amulet consisting of a triangular padlock, which was meant to prevent the child from turning into one of these creatures. In another anti-vampire burial discovered in 2022, the deceased was buried with a sickle placed across the neck to prevent them from becoming a vampire. In the 1990s, in a 19th-century cemetery on the Greek island of Lesbos, archaeologist Hector Williams from the University of British Columbia and his colleagues discovered the skeleton of an adult male whose body had been pinned to the ground with iron spikes through his neck, pelvis, and ankles. He was also in a solid wooden coffin, while most of the other bodies buried in the same cemetery were covered only with sheets. It's clear that someone didn't want this man to escape from his grave. An archaeological team led by forensic anthropologist Matteo Barini from the University of Florence encountered another vampire burial on the Italian island of Lazaretto Nuovo in 2005. In this case, the body belonged to an elderly woman who was apparently buried with a medium-sized brick in her mouth, a documented form of exorcism practiced on suspected vampires in Italy. Give it a like, subscribe, share, and get ready to keep exploring with us. See you in the next video.